Alright, so now we have reached chapter number 6. Title of that chapter is Fall of the Magadhan Empire. Alright, so far what we have understood from the writings of RC Majumdar is that Ashoka, initially he was a viceroy in the Mauryan Empire. His father, but there is also considerable debate to be had how exactly did he succeed to the throne of Magad, because there are different accounts that are diametrically opposite to each other. Some of the legends say that he engaged in a fratricidal war, that is, meaning that he killed his own father, his own brothers, and his own siblings to usurp the throne of Magad. The other sources and traditions claim that he rightfully ascended to the throne. Okay, so there is considerable discussion and debate to be had about the ascendancy of Ashok to the throne of Magad. But keeping that aside, yes, he succeeded to the throne. Now it is said that the only one war that he fought during his entire rule, okay, he might have fought wars when he was not on the throne of Magad, but the only war that he fought was the Kalinga War, in which there were a lot of people died, and this was the event that caused his heart to change. He suddenly had an epiphany of empathy, and he started empathizing that since now I have killed so many people, I need to renounce violence as a means of conquest. Okay, and that was the point where began the downfall of the Mauryan Empire. Okay, history is replete with examples about a kingdom not being able to fight, and that is just relegated to the storage of history. And that is what that was the inevitable end of the Magadhan Empire. So on this page, RC Majumdar, he mentions about the Sungas. Okay, Sungas had a Brahmana lineage. Okay, now this in itself should raise a lot of questions. The last king of the Mauryan Empire was Brihadrat. Okay, obviously the king will not go to fight. Okay, so he had an army, and the commander-in-chief of that army was Pushyamitra Sunga. Who was Pushyamitra Sunga? A Brahmana. So we must ask ourselves these questions, okay? From the current discourse, from the current official historical and political narratives, what we see is there are different varnas of people, and they are only supposed to do those things. They were not flexible, they were not elastic. Then what is a Brahmana doing as a commander-in-chief of the army? Okay, there is something, these questions must be answered. You cannot just keep on ignoring these things. Why? Because the answer will be politically incorrect. Alright, so yes, the sources that we have about Pushyamitra is Banabhat. Banabhat was a writer, and he wrote a book of Harshcharita. Okay, Harshvardhan was a king, and his character description, that is Harshcharitra, was written by Banabhat. Okay, now here if you look at the first paragraph in the third line, I'm going to read word by word. Pushyamitra, the Senapati or the commander-in-chief, assembled the entire Maurya imperial army, evidently on the pretext that he was anxious that his sovereign should see for himself with his own eyes what a fine fighting force he could put into the field of battle, and then assassinated him at the military parade and review. This incident shows that already Pushyamitra was carefully preparing the ground for the coup d'etat by seducing his army from its loyalty to the Maurya king. Okay. Now, I'm not disputing, I'm not saying that the Pushyamitra did not kill Brihadrat. Okay. But the official narrative has been framed and crafted in such a way. Okay. Remember, in the previous videos we have discussed how Ashoka was the poster child or a template model for the liberals to present to the gullible population of Bharat during 1947. Okay, during 47, our literacy rate was in single digits. Okay, so not a lot of people knew about these theories of liberalism and socialism and all those isms that had come out of the revolutions in the West. Okay, French Revolution and all those things. So people were very gullible. So at that time, they presented this model that, see, Ashoka was a very tolerant person, even though the time during which he practiced tolerance, monopolistic monotheism did not exist. Okay, so for all practical purposes, the religious toleration that Ashoka was promoting was within the Aryanhood, not towards the monotheists. Okay, that was uh, falsehood number one that was taught to us. Secondly, there is, I'm willing to concede that yes, there is an honest and sincere discussion to be had about the discrimination against certain communities in our country, or historic discrimination. Okay, but it was entirely blamed upon one Varna, that is the Brahmanas. And since Pushyamitra Sunga was conveniently Brahmana, there are also other sources that mention him. Here, the source that is quoted is Panini. Panini traces the Sungas to the Brahmana clan of the Bharadwaj. Okay, so Panini quotes, okay, and this was taken as an evidence. See, he is a Brahmana, he is against the liberal principles, he is against democracy, and hence he overthrew a kingdom that was so very, delicately nurtured by Ashok, who practiced religious toleration. You see how the narrative works. But in reality, it's totally different. It was just a commander-in-chief who had grievances against the ruler, saw an opportunity, took it and usurped the kingdom. Okay? I'm not saying whatever he did was right or wrong. All I am saying that giving Pushyamitra Sunga that tinge, that just because he belonged to a certain Varna, hence he did what he did. Okay. There are also other sources that talk about Pushyamitra Sunga, that is Kalidasa, however, in his drama Malvika Agnimitra, describes Agnimitra, son of the Pushyamitra, as a scion of the Bambaka family of the Kashyapa lineage. But the Sunga origin of Pushyamitra is generally accepted. Okay, so these are the sources that we have.